Have you been seeing stuff in the news, online, wherever, things happening around the world, and you are a little concerned, a little worried, maybe even a little frightened? I don't think you're alone. We're going to be talking about that. So, thank you for joining me. If you've been watching my other videos, this is a little different than what I've done before. With this channel, we are dedicated to persevering through life's storms, persevering through life's struggles, persevering through our own concerns, our own worries, our own anxieties. There are certain things that can happen that might trigger a quote unquote episode, whatever you want to call it. And something happening in our world, something happening around the world, something happening local can definitely have an impact. We can have an impact on our own lives by somebody in our own family. So whether or not you have been following certain things, and I'm not going to get into politics on this. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter who you voted for, if you voted in the U.S. elections lately, whether you're happy about the outcome, whether you're stressed about the outcome, whether you're completely indifferent because you're in a different part of the world and it doesn't matter to you who won the U.S. election, because there are more pressing things in your life that take priority over the United States election. The problem is what we do is we go to social media, we go to YouTube, we go to certain things, we listen to certain people, we listen to certain political parties, we listen to celebrities, we listen to family, we listen to friends. We start to kind of take other people's perspectives, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing to listen to other people, because you absolutely should listen to people and get other people's opinions and listen to all of the information. What I'm talking about is, where do you put your hope? Where do you put your trust? If your hope is in a certain political party, a presidential candidate, doesn't matter, because your hope does not belong in anybody in this world. Our hope belongs in Jesus Christ. And if you're going to turn this off right now at this point, then would you mind just listening to me on this? Because there are so many perspectives that are thrown at us, and we're told to believe one thing, we're told to disbelieve another thing, and we have so many voices that are being thrown at us, so many different narratives, so many different perspectives, so many different quote unquote truths, that we don't even know what the truth is anymore. If you're going to take somebody's word at something because that's the person who said it and not what is said, then I encourage you, please take a moment, pause, and listen to what is being said rather than who is saying it. Don't listen to what I'm saying and take it as absolute truth just because I'm saying it. And I'm not saying to discredit or discourage what I'm saying, or discredit what I'm saying because I'm saying it. It's the same thing, and we tend to do that regardless of what it is, whether it's a religious perspective, whether it's a political perspective, whether it's a scientific perspective. We dismiss something because of who said it or the topic. If I hear something about science, I love science. I love mathematics. I love absolutes. I love the search for absolute truth. I think maybe that's why a lot of my perspective, or where a lot of my perspectives come from, is the search for absolute truth, because it doesn't matter to me who is saying something as it is what is being said, because there is an absolute truth behind everything. There is an absolute truth on science. There's an absolute truth on history. There's an absolute truth on the future. There's an absolute truth on opinion. And now let me get into that for a second here. Because the problem is we are so adamant that our opinion is the absolute truth. The absolute truth is not your opinion. The absolute truth is that you have an opinion. So what does this have to do with a channel about depression, about overcoming mental illness? Because we compound our struggles, we compound the struggles of others by pretending our opinions are the absolute truth, in that our opinions should be somebody else's opinion because we think that that's the absolute truth. So we think that because our opinion is that one political party or one country or one whatever is superior to somebody else's, that everybody else must also have the same opinion. The reason I wanted to do this video today is because I think we're in a world that's searching for an answer. And with our access to technology, if you're watching this, obviously you have access to technology. And we start looking for answers, and then we start finding opinions and forcing those as an answer, as an absolute truth. I said earlier, if your hope lies somewhere else other than Jesus Christ, you're going to be searching for more. And the reason that I'm saying this with such confidence is, like I have said, I have been searching my entire life, but I have been searching for an absolute truth. And I question everything. I am a natural skeptic, I would say. And that might also play part into my own mental health struggles, is because if I'm skeptical about everything, I'm not going to be trusting in certain people. So when I'm saying that when I'm saying to put your trust only in Jesus, does that mean you don't trust other people? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. Don't twist somebody else's perspectives, and don't let somebody else's twisted perspective on the truth impact your mental health, your struggles. Don't let somebody else's view of religion, somebody else's view of politics, somebody else's view of history, somebody else's view of science. Don't let those things skew your life. Search for the absolute truth. When you search for something, when you search for knowledge, you find it. So what we do in life is we reject God because of the narrative that somebody else has placed on our life. And what I mean by that is somebody will take a verse in the Bible and they will skew it to put their opinion or their beliefs or their whatever onto somebody else. And that person receives a skewed version of the truth, accepts that as ultimate truth, and then they reject it. It's the same thing with science. It's the same thing with history. It's the same, whatever it is. What's the narrative that you're believing? What's the narrative that you're following? What's the narrative that you're trusting? Who do you trust? Where do you put your trust? How do you allow that to affect your mental health? How do you allow that to affect your anxieties, your struggles? And so I'm going to bring this up because this has kind of been a struggle for mine, where I have heard, I shouldn't say I've heard, I have read, do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough worries of its own, or tomorrow will worry about itself. Or don't be anxious about anything. these are scriptures in the Bible. And so you start to hear or you start to read, well, don't be anxious about anything. And you say, okay, well, that's easy for you to say, but I can't just get rid of my anxiety. I can't just get rid of my worry. So then do you automatically reject what is said without going and following out, without going and figuring out, following up and finding out what that actually means? What does it mean when scripture says, do not be anxious about anything, but in all things by prayer and petition give thanks to the Lord? Well, so many times in my life I've said, how am I supposed to give thanks in this situation? But if you've listened to the podcasts I've had, if you've listened to, if you've read a lot of things that I've written, just because you have struggles in your life doesn't really mean that you don't have something to be thankful for. And it is so difficult to find things in life to be thankful for when you feel like your life is falling apart. There are so many things to find wrong. There's so many things to find that are not going well. There's so many things in life to find that are just not. It just sucks. And we see things all around the world and we say, well, how is it that these things are happening and I'm supposed to give thanks? You're watching this in front of a computer. You either have eyes to see and or ears to hear. You have breath to breathe, air to breathe. I have a roof over my head. Molly and I did a podcast episode a while ago about when you wake up in the morning, just being thankful for the things that you have. And when you start doing that, it changes your perspective. It changes your narrative. Now, instead of focusing on the crappy things that are happening all around you, you start to change your narrative and you start to change your perspective. Does that change the way that life is going? Maybe, maybe not. I have found that most of the time, not. But it does change your perspective. And when you change your perspective on the way that life is going, you start to view it a little bit differently. You start to actually be more thankful for the things that you have. You start to be more grateful for the people that are in your life, for the things that you actually have going well, and you stop looking at the things that are not going as well. When you read something from the Bible, remember that it has been translated from a different, not only a different language, but a different vocabulary. And what I mean by that is, if I say something to you today, like, look on the bright side of life. Now, somebody 2,000 years from now, if they hear me say this, look on the bright side of life, do they reject what I say and say, well, he must not have said that because life is not a luminance. Our life does not our life does not illuminate things. How can you have a bright side or a dark side of life? You look at semantics. Semantics are the way that we speak about things, the way that the certain communications. So if I say something to one person in one language that means something different in another language, you got to translate what the actual meaning or understand what that meaning was. You educate yourself on what did that mean to the person who said it. So when the gospel writers are writing down the words that Jesus had said 70 years before, They were writing it as he said it, translated into the language that they were writing it in, as a way to express what he said at that moment and what that meant. Now, 2,000 years later, we're translating it into our current language and our current semantics, if you will. If I read, "Don't be anxious about anything," and I reject that because to me it sounds ludicrous. How can I not be anxious? I can't. I have this feeling in my chest. How can I just immediately get rid of that? Stop telling me to just get rid of that feeling. That's not what it means, and that's not what Jesus said. That's not what Jesus meant. That's not what the gospel writers meant when they wrote that. Or I have 3 kids, and unfortunately, they inherited a lot of my struggles that I deal with in life. And one of those is this overwhelming anxiety that I get. And when I tell my children, okay, to stop worrying about something or not allow their anxiety to take over, I'm not telling them to get rid of that feeling that they have. But what I'm trying to get them to do is change their behavior. And I tell my kids, you can't always change your feelings, the way that you feel about something, but you can change the way you react about something. And if you change the way that you react about something, then the next time something like that happens, what's going to happen is your body is not going to have that same reaction that it had that time before. If you change your perspective, of a certain situation, you're going to change the way that your body reacts to that situation. So after a long enough time, are you able to change? Are you able to completely alleviate the anxiety that you feel? No. But if you start focusing on changing if you start focusing on changing your reactions to a situation, then you can change the way your body reacts to a situation. And imagine that somebody 2,000 years ago would understand that, when we are just now learning to comprehend that, and we still can't comprehend that today. There are so many answers I have been searching for in my life that I want to give you. I want to give you all who are watching, who are listening, whatever. I want to give you that understanding, but the problem is we can't force our understanding on other people, and we shouldn't force our understanding on other people. We shouldn't force our beliefs, our opinions, our whatever on other people. It's not our job. Our job is not to force our perspectives on anybody. What we need to do is educate. We educate people on why we have certain beliefs, why we have certain values. It's up to us. It's up to me. If I listen to somebody else speaking it and they're telling me this is the way that you need to believe, this is what you need to believe, this is the way you need to think, this is what you need to believe. Like I said, I'm a natural skeptic, and I'm not going to believe that because somebody else is telling me that I need to, that I have to believe this way. And I definitely don't say that if you don't believe the way that I do, if you don't believe the things that I believe, if you don't have the same opinions, that you're an awful person, because that is absolutely not true. We shouldn't be telling people that they are lesser people than us because they don't hold the same values, the same truths, the same perspectives. Nowhere in life, nowhere in history, nowhere in scripture does it ever say anything about anybody being a lesser of a human because of their perspectives, because of their beliefs. Nowhere in science does it say that. We have this understanding. We have this written out that everybody's created equal, but we don't believe it. We don't truly believe that the person sitting across from us at a restaurant, that the person sitting at the next table, that the person sitting up on the same bus, that the person in the traffic, we don't have that belief that those people are created equal to us. And we need to get over that perspective. We need to get over our opinions that somebody else is a lesser human than us because they don't share the same values. I don't like the way that our version of that statement, everybody's created equal, I don't like the way that that is perceived by us, because the way that we have skewed that is not accurate to the way that it was intended. We are not equal to each other, and we shouldn't think that we're equal to the other people around us, because I don't want to be equal to everybody, because I don't want to be the same as everybody else. I want to be independent. I want to be my own person, but I have the equal value as the next person. You have equal value as the next person. You have equal value to that person sitting in traffic with you, to sitting across the restaurant, sitting across the bus, sitting across the subway, sitting wherever. You have equal value because you were created in the image of God, the creator of the universe, who created everything that is and was and will be, including science, including history, including individuals, including opinions, including perspectives. So let me know in the comments if there's any other topics that you want to hear. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please keep them respectful. Please respect each other's opinions, each other's value. Know that that person in the comment section has the same value. So thank you for watching. As always, please, if you like the video, click the like button, subscribe to the channel so you can hear more of what I have to say, listen to the podcasts on YouTube, or you can go to the Fight with Depression podcast. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's wherever you can get it. And we're going to hopefully be putting more podcasts episodes out. If you want to see video podcasts, I feel like this is kind of a segue into that, perhaps. So let me know in the comments section. You can go to thefightwithdepression.com, go to the contact page if you don't want to put anything in the comments below. You just want to get a hold of me directly. You can go to the contact page on the website. That goes right to my email. And let me know your thoughts, your opinions, your whatever else you would like to hear. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, God bless.